Good morning, all. Thanks for joining. So today we'll continue the concept of AWS Lambda. You can see here, now I'm in Mumbai location, go for AWS. So as I told you, so AWS Lambda is a serverless computing model. Without servers, we can run executing the program from the scratch. Okay, so now how does it works? So you can see this any program whenever we are seeing here. Okay, so suppose we have a Python program is there. So the program is sample program is available. You can note down here hmm, and you can execute it based on your requirement. Normally, if you want to run normally in your system, so you need to install the runtime environment. So when I click here, automatically hello from Lambda. So the message is returning here. Suppose if you go for Node.js, if I click here, hello from Lambda. So Ruby, this is a platform. We got it. So custom runtime. Custom runtime means, okay, other than .NET, Go, Java, Node.js, Python, Ruby, any other than platform you have created own environment like a own platform, even that you can import here and you can create it. So that's the beauty of serverless computing. Not only these platforms, runtimes you can use, even if you have any custom runtimes in your own that you can deploy and we can run here. So how you can create this? So we can creating through functions. The functions you can build your environment. As we discussed, so from the scratch blueprint and container image, previously there's a four processes are there that was removed actually. So only right now three options are available. Author from the scratch. So basically whenever you're creating the sample hello world programs by default, it will be correcting here. Okay. So Hello World is a by default program. That means it's a sample program they have written because of we are not expert in the program level to write it. So that's the reason. So we can take anything. So Hello World example, if you're taking the runtime, you can choose Python example 3.7. Right now the version is a 3.7. Even 3.7 also can run it here. Okay. So come down in the runtime after selecting that architecture is that architecture means a different physical physical systems are there to set up the infra, like we have a x86 64 or ARM process, so graviton process or uh, you can check this name x86 64 it processor names. Okay, see what is the processor name here? X64, the 64 technology developed by AMD, AMD process. This one is the AMD processor. And another one is ARM 64, ARM 64. This is a Cortex processor. Okay, Cortex processor. So this model is set. So normally, whenever you're using laptop, desktop, the processor is different. Intel AMD, the different processors are there. Okay, i3, i7, i5. That's a different is there. But here the processors are different. It's a server-based model, data center models are there. Now I'm selecting Excel 8664, the processor I'm selecting. And coming to below, we have a permissions are there. So permissions is nothing but so working with the other services that's going through that will going through IAM role. Suppose without every time providing access to the one services to another services, it's very difficult to get a services and we can whoever have the permissions to log in and we have to review the information. The same user, once it is a member of the particular application group or maybe service group which is created in the IAM services, the particular service permissions you will get it by default. So the permissions execution role, you can use this like a create a new role with the basic Lambda permissions. Okay, that I'm selecting here. And if you go with the advanced settings also, so these are the permissions if you required or not, you can choose it. It's not mandatory. It's not mandatory. Then after that, you can click create a function. The function is ready here. So that means backend environment will get created. I told you, no. So 1,000 requests, sorry, at a time we can handle it. So hello world program was created here. Now triggers we can select this is a program. And in the program, if you want to edit, okay, if you want to edit, you can edit directly. But edit is not possible for all the programs. Node.js and .NET, I think so. These two environment only we can edit. So if you go to check in the Google, which yeah, I think it's editable. Huh? So, but all the platform we cannot modifying in this console. Be careful. So this is not your job, no problem. So programmers will take care of it. So maybe if your other Java application, if you're providing here, you can directly come, you're planning to edit and you want to check it. It's not possible. And again, go back to your editor tools like Atom, Visual Studio Code, Notepad++, and you have to modify it, you have to check that. Change is not deployed. So that means you can see this message right now. This is the changes. Right now, it's not deployed on the AWS serverless computing. When you deploy, so the test and deploy, and you can do that. So that based on that, how much time will take and what is the memory consumptions that we can check this. Okay. Now, if you go to find, so replace or find, so this normal, wherever editor option is there, editor options, everything is available. And this is a view options. This is just like a layout, but you do not expect file editor, find view, every code when you're pushing and you're getting this option. Don't expect that. Sometimes it'll be Okay, these options will be grayed out because of that code, whatever you're doing that. So is a universal Python and uh, Node.js. Okay, Node.js applications we can easily editable. Now here is a test is there. Configure the test event. If you click that, and you can create an event name. So my first test, my first test I'm creating, and this event will be is a private testing or maybe it's a shareable with the team members that you can see here. And this is the event JSON. What is the key values are available? Okay, this is a template. And this is a JSON format will be there. If you want anything, you can modify and you can run it. This is a hello world temp function and save it. Now you can test it. Now the test execution was successfully done. The test execution is successfully done. Now you can see this. This is the response code, the status code 200. Body of the message is hello Lambda. And the functions is started with the status event ID and version is the latest one will be provided. And end request also successfully completed. The total duration of this program 1.61 milliseconds. The build charge is 2 milliseconds. Why? Because even 1.61 also it will be considered the 0.061 milliseconds will be considered as a 2 milliseconds only. So the total build duration is rounded 2 milliseconds now. Okay, the total maximum memory consumptions, okay, for 36 MB here. The duration is 107.83 milliseconds. Initial duration option is available. This is a charges will be there, and the status is succeeded. Status is succeeded. In the last session, I think so. Code has some problem is there, and we got a failed. Am I right, Sashi? I think somebody was shared with me. Mahesh or I don't know. Hmm? So it's a failed, right? Last time.
It was failed because the function is not having the handler keyword.
Maybe the code is we don't know. So that's the main reason. So the successfully status is completed, the environment execution. So now we can deploy it. Now the environment was deployed successfully. Okay. So the test and we can deploy. So both environment is available. So now this is running on the server. Clear? This is a way simply we can create a one program and we can execute and we test it. Honestly, so we are not a programmers to take this complete end-to-end learning. This is not your job. Okay, they will take care of it. And that test environment you can see here. If anything you want to change and again, and you want to create a new event again. Okay, again create it. My second test. Okay, now save and test it again. So now can see the details, see the message, okay, is executed, the total memory consumption, how much it will used. Suppose this particular metrics you want to see in the CloudWatch groups, you can see here how much memory was consumption that we can see from the Hello World program. The two event was successfully did at the 8:36 and 8:39. Now the time is 8:40. The last events when it was success, the complete information will be stored here. Example, last event, we will check that. So what is the event it is? So when start and successful message, runtime, what is utilization? Everything we can monitor from the CloudWatch console, not only from the AWS Lambda side, even you can manage it from the a detailed information from the CloudWatch event logs. So now this particular program, maybe if you want to add some triggers from the sources, so sources are different services are there. If these services you are taking, Okay, if the services you're taking and the particular events you can trigger it. Example, so and so bucket, I'm going to select this particular bucket region must function region AP South 1. AP South 1, the bucket is not there. Okay, let me explain it. So, what is our scenario? Example, some trigger I need to run it. What is a trigger? Suppose some bucket is there. If the bucket once is selected, an event you need to generate. What event? Based on this condition, if somebody put the image, somebody post the image, somebody copy the image, somebody is multiple times the data is uploading. Okay, so based on these conditions, I need to run one job. I need to run one job. Example, somebody is posted, somebody is a put information, somebody is a copy. These all condition, actually all object creation events we have selected. Okay, no problem. And what are the image? So prefix and suffix will be there. Prefix is the starting of the name and the suffix is the ending of the name. So maybe some logs or maybe some content will be starting with the specific names like a log 1, log 2, log 3, log 4. Like that, maybe the first letters are very common in that particular generation. We will selecting the prefix. Maybe your names are completely different. We are not matching with one name with another name, and we can match with the suffix. So maybe the end file name will be .jpg, .jpeg, .png. Those files will be selected. Suppose example, um, suppose I'm selecting .jpg, I'm selecting and I acknowledge this and I'm adding here. But whenever adding, I need a bucket to configure the source. So right now, Sashi is not created any buckets. So now if you select this, bucket must be in AP South 1. And I don't know whether she created or not. And let me duplicate this window. S3, check this. This is a AP South 2. So right now we are in Mumbai. She created in Hyderabad. Okay, that's the reason. Suppose now I'm creating the bucket here. Uh, AWS Lambda Lambda testing demo 01, selecting in Hyderabad, AP South 1, sorry, AP South 1 means Mumbai.
Select Mumbai.
Mumbai. Now, these all are common, brother. Okay, don't make any changes, create a bucket. Now you can select the AP Lambda testing demo. Event types we have selected, these all selected, we are added. Once we added this particular S3 is connected to the input of your Lambda function. Input of your Lambda function. Okay, so next add the destination. So where we need to update this information. Okay, actually whatever hello world is we are taking, that's something different and this something different. And I'm going to add is something different. Maybe this is related to this, but hello world function is something is different. Okay. So because of we are not a programmer, we are taking the scenario and we have to execute it. So just you can see how the add the triggers, how to add the destination. That is enough for you. Destination where we can update it. So add the destination, asynchronous invocation, stream invocation, condition failure, success. So asynchronous. Synchronous means what I can tell that. What is the meaning of asynchronous?
Synchronous.
Synchronous.
Synchronous means everything is online. Means at a
Yeah,
time.
you can see.
Telecommunicating.
Asynchronous means not at a time.
So you can see this. See, students learn at same time. So example, మీటింగ్ లో మళ్ళీ ఫోన్ చేస్తాను ప్లీజ్. So everybody you are joining the class and you are attending. Everybody is syncing. Okay, synchronous. Everybody in a common stage, and we are able to connect it. Students learn at a different times. Uh, Recording you're taking and whenever you're free and you're attending it. So synchronous means real time and asynchronous means not uh, real time. Okay, irregular. So that's a meaning here. So what about asynchronous invocation? Asynchronous invocation means you understand different times, whatever the jobs are ready, that particular jobs we can tracking. Okay, you understood? Maybe somebody will be working on 8 o'clock, some report is generated, after that 8:30, after 8:45, like that. Okay. Stream invocation. Stream invocation means what? I'll tell you streaming. Somebody YouTubers are uh, they they'll be running the channels with a streaming model. For example, PUBG games, they'll be streaming a live. Okay. What do you mean that? You can interact with the person and you can watch the screen. That is called streaming. Same way, if any streaming information continuously the job will be running, that information you want to track yourself and you want to add it to the destination, you can use a stream invocation. So now I'm selecting the asynchronous invocation, and whether failure events are successful event, I'm selecting it. So I want the trigger for a successful event. I want to send a notification to, okay, destination. Okay, SNS topic I'm selecting and destination I need to select. But even SNS I selected in Mumbai location, but SNS topic is not created. SNS topic is not created. What we need to do, again go to another console, duplicate the window. Now I need to create SNS. So guys, you know what is meaning of SNS? SNS means simple notification service. SNS means simple notification service. I'm going to teach what is meaning of SNS. SNS means simple notification service. Example, right, whenever your mobile subscription is end, so before 10 days, before 5 days before, your Geo, Airtel will be indicating, right? Hey, your plan is going to expire and please recharge. This type of messages you're receiving it. Same kind of SNS also is available in case of any service is down, any service is up, any job is completed, not completed. Those kind of messages can be sending through a email message. Understand? That is called SNS, simple notification service. So I hope everyone you are attended the session. Okay, I don't want to repeat it again and again. So simple notification services that. So simple notification services, I'm going to create a topic. Topic name uh, in Mumbai only, AWS Lambda demo. Next. So I'm going to use a FIFO model and a standard model. I'm going to select a standard model only because of it is an email notification method. So in this batch, anybody is not attended my SNS topic previously. I think so, Raji Reddy, few people are not attended. Am I right? Okay, yes, I know. Okay. So detailed information we will discuss later. So just I'll explaining about what is meaning of SNS. So here standard method, either you can use Lambda. So I told Lambda functions are there. So Lambda, HTTPS, SMS, email, mobile applications, endpoints are there. Lambda demo. My demo is a uh, demo SNS 01, and I'm just creating a topic. The names, everything. I create a topic. When I create a topic, I need a subscription is needed. So go to subscription, create a subscription, depends on the protocol, which protocol you are using. So suppose AWS Lambda is there. I'm selected. So now protocol type is, if I'm selecting that AWS Lambda, and endpoint Lambda address in is needed. So AWS Lambda function that can receive the notification from AWS SNS. So now I can go here. Okay. So here AWS Lambda address is needed, right? So one step back in the functions, open it. This is the ARN address is there. I can copy this endpoint address and I pasted this. Now, and I can create a subscription. Successfully, I did that. Now, if I'm going to add a destination, selecting the SNS topic, the destination will be AWS Lambda. Now, if you're going for any permissions are needed, and you can select by default the permissions are required and save it. So once you click that, now both will get source and destinations are getting added into this particular scenario. So it takes some time to configure it. Hmm. Maybe if you want to configure any other SNS concept, like you want to send a message, you can add. You can add multiple destinations. That's your wish. Okay. Understand? So this is a way the source and destination we can configure. So on failure only, the destination event will get created. So this is the ARN. Even here also you can copy. Here also you can copy. That's your wish. And action. If you want to create a duplicate item, you can create it. All the functions you want to export it. Maybe you want to publishing a new version, you can create it. The entire function you want to delete it, you can delete it. Okay. And the throttle. So throttle means, okay. I couldn't say like, తెలుగులో ఎవరి మీనింగ్ ఉందండి థ్రాట్లింగ్ కి?
Killing or controlling flow.
రీసైకిల్ అని చెప్పొచ్చా?
చెప్పండి. అంటే ఫ్లో కంట్రోల్ చేయడము అట్లా ఆ విధంగా వస్తుంది. లేదా ఎగ్జాక్ట్ మీనింగ్ అంటే ఒకరిని ఇబ్బంది పెట్టి చంపడం, గొంతు నొక్కి చంపడం అంటారు కదా దాన్ని.
So I can consider like example, there's a kind of process. So reiterating.
It's not reiterating. It's controlling the flow.
Controlling the flow.
Yeah.
Okay. So controlling the flow, right? So whenever you did anything your work. So the throttle button will be there. You want to you want to click this. Okay, you want to click this. The throttle will be get affected here. So that means the work will be get stopped and again re-execute it. Okay, you can re-execute it. So right now function is throttled. Your functions cannot be invoked while reserved concurrency is 0. Okay, so now again concurrency model unreserved, and if you saved it, okay, again you can run your job. Understood? So మీ చెప్పిన విషయం కరెక్టే, గొంతు నొక్కి పెట్టి చంపడం. ఓకే, సో కరెక్ట్. సో ఇమీడియట్ గా ఏదైతే జరుగుతుందో దాన్ని మనం థ్రోటల్ చేస్తున్నాం, and you want to stop the particular life cycle. So we called as throttle. And again, if you are set the throttle, the value will become 0. Okay, the hello world will become 0. And again, you want to recirculate. Okay, then what we need to do, concurrency model you have to set here, and you can save. Again, you have to re-execute your work. So in this particular configuration, in this particular function, n number of features are there. Like we have a general configuration, and what is the memory utilization, ephemeral storage, what is the storage it was consumption, and what are the triggers you have created. And if you add any triggers right now from this canvas model also, you can add from this below configuration model also, you can add here. And the destination same way, and the function URL, any URLs you need to configure to connect this particular services. Environment variables, maybe in your Windows machine, in your Linux machines, you are setting up the environment variable wherever you are to run, and the project will get executed. Maybe based on that environment variable, the programmer will give you. So that we need to set up here, add an environment variable key and key value pair information. So names, the tags you can select. Any specific network you need to add to bypass this particular communication to access applications and all. So by default, we will be creating a new custom VPC only. If you want, you can click edit and you have to select what are the VPCs you have, and you can select, and what are the subnets are there. The subnets you need to select, and after that, what are the security groups are available, you need to select that one, and we need to save it. So based on this network, the connection flow, incoming and outgoing, this application will either will work or maybe it will not work. So I think today only I connected this lab with a Shashi. So the provided execution does not have a permission call, create a new network interface in EC2. Okay, so that we need to create a before when you're coming, you need to select it. So I think Shashi, what she did, I don't know. Okay. Monitoring and operations, any kind of monitoring you enabled? Yes, we just know we enabled the monitoring. Any concurrency model? So like a concurrency means multiple jobs we can do at a time. So 10 concurrency jobs we can create it at a time. Asynchronous invocation, we already discussed. Code signing, for security purpose, we are using the code signing configurations. So like whether it's a genuine code or maybe fake codes executions, the code signing, the algorithms, we are selecting that code signing configuration. So that is the AWS signer option is there. There's a separate service that is we are not managing, that is managed by AWS security team. They will provide the AWS signer keys, and then we will be adding that code signing. So code signing certificate they will be installed. With that help, we can execute our code. So everywhere the code signing certificates are available. Database proxies. Database proxies means we are not directly connecting to database due to security reasons. Before connecting the database, we will have some kind of gateway to connect to the database servers. That is called database proxy. You can select that data proxy identifiers. You need to select it. So I'm not adding any rule here. And finally, file system, any data you want to keep it in your environment in a local. So file system is there. You know, right? File system, it is called NFS, network file system. That EFS file system is available in Amazon Web Services. That EFS file system you need to create and keep it there. Example, you have images, you have videos, you have any content, and we can upload it there and we can run your services. Finally, state missions. So any kind of missions you want to create it, state missions you can create. It's a kind of virtual missions only. It's a kind of virtual missions, but this is not a physically located. It's a virtual missions. Okay, Lambda function handlers. So these are the total features are available and not required for all the configuration. Based on the scenario, you will be configuring it. Alias means a duplicate configuration you can create for testing purpose. Otherwise not required. Versions, whenever you creating a functions, you will be releasing some version name that will be decided by your project team, and you need to select the publishing the versions. Okay, latest versions and old versions like 1.0, like that we can provide it. So example, it's an optional one. You can give the name latest and publish it. So this is a one method. We are creating the function from the scratch level. Another functions also is there. Another two methods. Let me explain. Like a create a function with a blueprint. So these are the standard templates are available from the standard template from the AWS environment. So this blueprint, you can select it. Example, get S3 object. So an AWS S3 trigger that retrieves the metadata from object that has been updated. So Node.js and Python. So I'm Python 3.7, I'm selecting my function. Now I'm creating a new function name is get hyphen S3 object. So architecture is by default they selected. We don't have any control for that. And they create a basic function. So these are the Lambda functions they provided. So this is completely a code. Now come here and what are the buckets and you're configuring it. I'm selecting AWS Lambda testing demo. Event type is all objects, all object create events like a put, post, copy, multi-part upload. All options I'm selecting if you need it. And prefixes maybe dot jpg, same concept I'm selecting. I acknowledged it, create a function, same option, but the code was previously hello world is there. Now they're giving some scenario to create it. This scenario you need to create your own. Okay, so like some kind of coding, Lambda functions coding. This is a blueprint which is taken from the AWS environment. Now create a function. Once you create it, automatically the structure will be ready. You can see that. Like that, various features are available in the blueprint diagrams. If you search in the Google, you have a lot of scenarios are there. You can able to take it. So now S3 objects, everything was readily available. Okay. Now you can create a source and destination, and based on for the scenario, you can run it. Suppose now I'm testing this environment, creating an event demo one, and save it and test it. Now the testing environment is failed because of we are not configuring anything properly, source and destination. Definitely it will fail. Okay. So Lambda handlers is not responsive for this particular operations. So that will be taken care by your developer. What is the purpose they'll be created the program and what is the program type they created. They will know about it. They will modify. They have a complete knowledge on AWS infrastructure to create this particular environment, APIs and all. Okay. So whether the proper APIs are created or not, we don't know. Okay. So they have a full stack developers. They will work on the Lambda functions and they're creating it and they have a first learning the concept from the AWS environment. They'll taking the code and they'll modify and run it. So they're called as full stack developers to support the AWS development. They will create it. This is not our job. And one more method is a container image. So if you select this and you can give the name, container image is there. Okay. ECR is available. ECR means Elastic Container Registry from Amazon environment. So you already attended my few people Docker services. So Docker is providing the images, you know, right? Okay, hub.docker.com. So we are taking that address and we are pull the image, okay, and running the containers and the services. The same way, so we are creating a blueprint, the images in the Lambda functions from the container images services like Amazon ECR. So Amazon ECR also one type of a cloud Docker repository services. We can take and we can create a particular services. The image will be readily available and we can take it. So browse images. If you click that, no images are available, especially. Now, if you go to AWS ECR container images, pushing an images. So this type of code they'll be writing that in IAM policy. Okay, this complete code. By using this, they will creating the Docker images. Okay, so this is the address they will use. Every account, it has a unique ID will be there. And the unique ID level, they'll create a Docker images, they'll be pushing and maintain it. So normally, if you go to hub.docker.com, is a public. It is a public. Okay, it's not a private. Hub.docker.com. If you go to explore, example, Linux web server, if you hit enter, so many images are there. Suppose I'm going to download this container means this is the address you are getting Docker pool Ubuntu. So the same way it will be downloaded. We have a different versions are there. Same way Amazon ECR also is available. So it maintain the images, Elastic Container Registry, as I told you, fully managed the Docker container registry. So Docker is nothing but it's kind of it's a server project. Okay, engine. So by default it's empty only. We don't have anything to see here. Okay. If you have the address, you can please give the URI and you can click create a function. So the Docker image will get pull out from the ECR container and it will create the Lambda function. So these are the three ways we can build our functions through this console. Author from the scratch, use blueprint and container image. Previously, one more option also is there in an older version. I didn't remember it. Okay, one more option also is there. And what is your responsibilities here? You need to provide a admin access to the people and they will logging into the console and they'll check that. How to provide the full access to the person? Hmm, That's a very important. And go to IAM service. Suppose here Mahesh, he is our full stack developer. He's working on Lambda and he's executing all the operations. Now what we need to do, create a username. Example, Mahesh, provide a console access. Next, and create a custom password. User must create a new password next signing. And policy we need to attach directly. What is the policy name? Lambda full access. Either based on that Lambda, there's so many features are there, you can select it. Example, Lambda full access I'm providing and a create a user. That's it. If I'm sharing the username, password, credentials to Mahesh, he able to access the page with this address and he can manage the Lambda services effectively. Any other question? No questions. Thank you all. See you tomorrow.